Hey, welcome to Living the Dream with MS. Today I'm going to talk about spasticity. Once again, of course, because I am dealing with it. Spasticity is pretty common in MS. It's one of the most common symptoms. It's a tightness or stiffness of the muscles. It usually occurs in the legs, groin, buttocks. Some people also get it in their back and their neck, but most of it's in the legs. It's a result, just like many of the other things, of demyelination when that cover comes off the nerve and the signals get interrupted. Mild spasticity, which some people deal with, is not really painful. But when you get to major spasticity, like I'm dealing with, it is quite painful because the muscles are stiff. Not quite like a Charlie horse, but something along that vein. And so with the stiff muscles, it becomes difficult to walk. When I'm dealing with that, I walk more like, the kind of Frankenstein, real rigid, almost not bending the knees, hipping over because it hurts to bend. So that's the challenge there. The secondary challenge with spasticity is that it's very tiring. It uses up a ton of energy to walk around when you're in that much pain and when you're compensating for the stiffness. So there's a couple of things that you can do, and I try to do them all. I don't take any pharmaceutical for that. I do use my typical cannabis treatments. The problem is that when it gets extra aggressive like it is right now, that requires more medication to accomplish what we're looking for. The problem is if I use too much medication, then I can't drive, I can't work, those kind of things. So, I addressed it as I usually do, sorry about that, with a little bit just to cut the edge off, but at the same time, not enough to kind of release the pain. So I'll go through the workday, and it's going to be a bit tough. And then when I get home, I will, when I'm home for the day, I will administer more medication in order to get some relief, but I'll also kind of be useless for the day. The second thing is stretching. You can go to physical therapy, and if this was an extended bout, I probably would request that. But at this point, I have some basic stretches just to kind of loosen the muscles. They hurt like crazy, but they do serve their function, because the problem is if you have extended bouts of this, and especially with people that are less active than me due to their MS, you tend to get contraction where the muscle stays clenched. And not only is that very painful, but you start to lose function. I'm fortunate that I am pretty active, relatively speaking, so I don't run that risk as much as somebody who, for example, is wheelchair bound. If they don't get to some sort of physical therapy and get those muscles moving right away, they run a very real risk of contraction. And once you deal with that, it's so incredibly painful. And you can see somebody that's dealing with muscle contraction. You'd notice them because that's when you tend to be hunched or curled up, that kind of stuff. And it's a very painful issue to deal with. So spasticity is the word of the day. It's another crappy word in the realm of MS. It's one that I'm dealing with, but I've been through it before. I know what I can do to address it. I'll get through it as I always do, and I'm going to keep living the dream with MS.